Welcome to Catholic Answers Live, the program where you participate with your questions about apologetics and evangelization, including the most important theological, spiritual, moral, and social issues facing the world today. Call now with your question for today's guest. Toll free 1-888-31-TRUTH. That's 888-318-7884. Now, from San Diego, Catholic Answers Live.
And welcome to Catholic Answers Live, Friday edition. If you've ever wondered about angels, this hour we're going to give you lots of help in getting to know them. What are they, or maybe who are they would be a better question. Are they real? Do they have a role in my life, your life, in the life of the church and the world? I am Cy Kellett, your host, and if you have questions about angels, please give us a call, 888-318-7884. That's 888-318-7884. Our guests this hour, Terry and Mary Barber, are a power couple of the new evangelization. Parents of 4 children. Terry is one half of the Terry and Jesse Show, where they're too blessed to be stressed. And he's the founder of St. Joseph Communication, Lighthouse Catholic Media, and the author of one of the best books you will ever read on evangelization, How to Share Your Faith with Anyone, a practical manual of Catholic evangelization. He is joined by Mary today. Mary holds a Master's of Biblical Theology from John Paul the Great Catholic University and teaches Bible classes or Bible studies in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. And she also plays a very important role of reminding Terry where he is and where he's supposed to go at any given moment. Mary and Terry Barber, thanks for being with us on Catholic Answers Live.
Thank you for having us.
So we're glad to be here, brother. God bless you.
And did I get that right, Mary, that you spend part of your life telling Terry where he's going, where he needs to be?
Partially, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I say you're a power couple of the new evangelization. I mean, both doing important apostolic work and prayer. And but how did you come to be Mary and Terry Barber? How'd that happen?
Well, it's an interesting story because it took me 10 years to actually ask my wife to marry me after I met her when she was 22. She went into the convent. I went to go check out the Franciscans at Marytown in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I found out that that wasn't my calling. My wife found out it wasn't her calling to be a nun, but we were both understanding that our calling was to be a saint. And so we got married on the feast of the Holy Rosary, the 7th of October of 1989. And what's interesting, Cy, about this is that we met there through the Knights of the Immaculata, through total consecration to Mary, and we've been married with 4 kids. I have been very active, as you say, with St. Joseph Communications, the Catholic Resource Center, and with Catholic Answers. I remember starting back in the mid-'80s, meeting Carl Keating when he was an attorney, and he was just starting Catholic Answers. And I was so happy because I loved what he was doing. I gave him my mailing list. I said, Carl, God love you. What you're doing is so important. So for the past 35 years, I've been probably the biggest cheerleader for Catholic Answers. As a matter of fact, Tim Staples, who worked for St. Joseph Communications for years, I even got Tim to go to Catholic Answers. And I was glad to do that. But my point is, the collaboration with Catholic Answers and the apostolic work of the Barbers has been just a joy.
Oh, Terry, I should let people know you are, by general acclamation, the most energetic person in Catholic media. It's impossible for you to stand still, and you are fired up. As to the angels, if I may ask a question about the angels,
Sure.
And Mary, with your master's in biblical studies, are the angels in the Bible, and from the Bible, do we get any idea of who or what they are?
Yes, we do, Cy. The angels are definitely in the Bible, both in the Old and the New Testament. They play a very predominant role. We get the idea from that. Angel, the word angel means messenger, but as the Fathers of the Church, St. Augustine, and the Catechism of the Catholic Church quotes St. Augustine, messenger is not who they are. Messenger is what they do. That's their role. They are pure spirits. They are beings that have an intellect and a will, but they don't have bodies. And they were created by God. The first instance we have of reference to the angels is actually in Genesis, when it says, in the beginning, God said, let there be light.
Oh.
And then God separated the light from the darkness. And we know from the fathers of the church and the teaching of the church, this was the separation of the angels. The good angels from the bad angels was the light from the darkness. Because when God says, let there be light, there's no sun, moon, and stars yet. What is the light? The light is the angels. And of course, Lucifer, who was the highest of the angels, was the light bearer, as that's what his name means. But he chose to fall from God and became darkness. So the separation of the light from the darkness, that was the separation of the good and the bad angels.
So an angel is their role, but so what are they? They're a spirit, is what you're saying.
They're pure spirits, and their purpose, they were made to praise the Lord our God, to worship him and adore him. And in addition to that, they were made to serve men and to assist men in their journey toward their heavenly goal.
So we just had earlier this month the Feast of the Guardian Angels, and that's October 2nd each year. What are we to believe about guardian angels?
Well, we are to believe that every baptized human person definitely has a guardian angel. Some of the fathers of the church said that every soul has an angel, but it's not definitive. We know that every baptized soul does. Jesus in Matthew 18 says to his apostles when they tried to chase the little children away, he says, do not hinder them, for behold, the face of their angels constantly behold our Father's face. So the guarding angel is assigned to a person, one angel per person. They're not recycled. They don't get a new person when the person dies. When you die, your guardian angel gets to go to heaven, and if you go to heaven, he gets to rejoice with you for all eternity. If you don't, he rejoices for all eternity because he's done the best he can. We're all free, and the angels understand that. Just as God gave them free choice, he gives us free choice, and we have to choose whether to cooperate with him or not. But each person has a guarding angel. Each baptized person has a guarding angel, and that angel is there to help us in particular to praise, reverence, and serve the Lord our God, and to do his will in our life, and to conform our lives more completely to his will. And they do that perfectly. The good angels never said no to God. And once an angel decides on something, he can't change his mind. There's no changing his mind. I remember the kids were watching a show one time, and it's like this good angel goes bad, and I'm like, can't happen. They don't do that.
Right. It's a final, because they're pure spirits. There's no physical changing of your mind. You've made an affirmation that stands.
Right.
Well, again, 888-318-7884 is our number. We're talking angels this hour with Terry and Mary Barber. 888-318-7884. So here's my problem with guardian angels. I'm going to share you my problem, and either one of you can solve this problem for me. Bad stuff happens to me. And I don't know, has my guardian angel fallen asleep? What's the problem here when bad stuff happens to me?
Well, would you say that bad stuff happened to Jesus, Si?
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, Mary.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's the thing is, we look at tragedy, we look at suffering, we look at challenges in life. Sometimes we look at the contradictions and the crosses and toils and disappointments. We look at them as bad, but God can take anything and bring good out of it. So the angel is there, and what he's trying to help us do is learn from that how to draw closer to God in the midst of tragedy. And oftentimes, Bishop Fulton Sheen always used to say, pain is God's megaphone. God uses that. God never wills an evil. But he will allow evil because he's allowed us free will. He allows us to sin. That's the greatest evil there is sin. And so God can bring good out of that. So the angel is there. He's encouraging us to do what is good. But he also understands and sees from God's perspective that maybe a good can come out of this. I remember Father Wagner told a story once, two stories. One was a little boy who got bit by a deadly poisonous snake, and his angel literally carried him home to his mom so that he wouldn't die. Another was a priest who was walking and suddenly sees a light in the sky in the form of a cross where there's never been a light, and he stops. Had he not stopped at that moment, he would have stepped on a deadly poisonous snake and gotten bit. And you're like, well, wait a minute. Why did the angel let the little boy get bit and then carry him home and not let the priest get bit?
Right.
And Father Wagner said that's in the mystery of God. We can't fully explain that,
Right.
but there could be a lot of practical reasons. The priest is a priest; he has to serve his people. Maybe there was something in the little boy's family that this suffering would bring them together and bring a greater good.
Yep.
Right. We can't know. Terry, we got to take a break.
Sure.
I never would have guessed like 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes with not a word from Terry Barber. I'm in shock at the moment. But we got to take a break. At 888-31-TRUTH is our number. We're talking angels this hour with Terry and Mary Barber. We'll be right back with more after this on Catholic Answers Live.
This is Bishop James Conley of the Diocese of Lincoln. Keep it right here on Catholic Answers Live.
It's October, and as we head to the end of the year, Catholic Answers is kicking off its annual winter sale in its newly redesigned online shop with great discounts on all of the books, DVDs, CDs, ebooks, and MP3s that we carry, with great new releases on church history, scripture, Bible prophecy, and the saints. The shop at Catholic.com is once again your go-to place for solid Catholic resources with a store-wide discount to boot. Just enter the promo code WINTER at checkout and you'll save 20% off your total purchase. That's right, 20% off the hundreds of great Catholic resources we have in our online store from now till the end of the year. To get those discounts, just go to shop.catholic.com. That's shop.catholic.com.
Homeschool Connections, an online provider of courses for your Catholic homeschool, is a sponsor of Catholic Answers Live. Homeschool Connections website is homeschoolconnections.com.
The Catholic Answers Minute. I'm Father Vincent Serpa. In Luke 12, Jesus warns us not to be afraid of those who kill the body, but of the one who, after killing, has the power to cast one into Gehenna. Even sparrows sold for 2 small coins do not escape the notice of God. The hairs on your head are numbered, he said. Fear not. You are worth more than many sparrows. Most of us fear rejection, the disapproval of people we respect, and certainly we fear for our physical safety. But our blessed Lord is telling us that the only safety that ultimately matters is the safety from sin and temptation. How much do we fear that? You won't find NBC or even Fox doing a special warning of the dangers of that. Our ultimate safety lies in repentance and the willingness to forego anything and everything in order to be faithful to Him. I'm Father Vincent Serpa for Catholic Answers, Catholic.com.
Call now with your question. 888-318-7884. This is Catholic Answers Live.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. Super Friday edition. Mary and Terry Barber are here with us to discuss angels. We actually wanted to do this show a little earlier in the month, but weren't able to arrange it. Earlier because the Feast of the Guardian Angels is October 2nd, but it's still October, and so we're very happy to have Terry and Mary here to talk with us about the angels. If you have questions about angels, 888-318-7884 is our number, 888-31-TRUTH. And Terry, I kind of made you wait for a second while I went to the break. You had something you wanted to say before I went to the break.
I just wanted to tell everybody about your guardian angel, that the unemployment rate is way too high. Put them to work. And I say that because many people don't realize that they need to collaborate more with that guardian angel. And that guardian angel's job is to get you to heaven. So why not call on him daily?
Well, so now, okay, so how do I cooperate with my guardian angel then? I mean,
Great question.
Yeah, oh, thank you. Yeah. What's the answer, though?
Well, go ahead, Mom.
Well, first of all, the cooperation comes with, we need to learn to obey the commandments, follow God's law and His plan, but we need to learn to pray also. We need to learn to be silent and be listening so that we can hear the voice of the angel. We can hear his inspiration. He's not going to, most likely, he's not going to appear to us physically. We won't even hear a word, but we might have an inspiration. Call this person, they need a call, or go check on this outside, or these little inspirations the angels give us. But the more we pray and are in an attitude of prayer, a practice of the presence of God is probably the best way to collaborate with the guardian angels. The angels are always in God's presence, as again Matthew 18:10, they constantly see His face. So we too need to try and remember God is always with us. He's always present to us, but are we present to Him? Or are we just distracted?
Well, I get one question that I have before we go to calls, and we have a full bank of calls, so lots of people want to talk about the angels. And if you'd like to talk with Terry and Mary, give us a call, 888-318-7884. But is there ever a danger in dealing with angels? One, being misled about whether we're in fact dealing with an angel, but also maybe emphasizing the angels to the exclusion of our relationship with God.
Yes, there's always a danger. Number one, there's more than one type of angel. There are the good angels who collaborated with God and said, I will serve. There are also the demons. When Lucifer said, I will not serve, he refused to collaborate in the plan of God, and he turned away from God definitively. He can't change his mind, and he's a devil, and God cast him out of heaven, and he did that with the power of Saint Michael. Michael did that. Michael did that with the power of God. It's like David and Goliath. Michael was no match for Lucifer in terms of
Yes.
their power and who they are by nature, because Lucifer was the highest angel. He was more powerful than Michael, but Michael relied totally on the power of God.
I might add one thing, because we talked about Father William Wagner from the Opus Angelorum. He's coming to Covina, to the Sacred Heart Chapel, the 13th of January. We're going to be having a spiritual warfare conference on angels and demons, the topic we're just talking about. And I guarantee you, as like Scott Hahn said, Father William Wagner is the top angelologist he's ever met. And I would ask you, if you want to come to that conference, you can call 877-526-2151. I'm going to be there. My wife will be there. This is a rare time where we've got two priests coming to speak on the angels and on spiritual warfare, angels and demons. That's going to be January 13th, and you'll get an opportunity in that day to meet these priests.
Oh, so what about this idea, though? And I'll just give you an idea. I might walk into a shop or something where it's kind of it might even be a new agey type of thing. And angels are being, they're probably not worshipped, but it seems to me emphasized in a way that isn't connected with Christ or the church or God. Or what about that?
And I think always as Christians, we have to ask ourselves, are any of our devotions leading us to God or away from him? We're either getting closer to God or further away. So, and the deal is this, and we can ask ourselves also, is this devotion actually helping me to accomplish the duties of my state in life better? Is it helping me to obey the commandments better? Is it leading to me to a more intimate prayer life with our Lord? Because if it's not, if we can't say yes to all three of those, then there's something wrong there, and maybe the spirit that we're dealing with is not a holy good angel, but might be actually a demonic spirit. Because the demons can appear as angels of light. So yes, they can lead us astray, and there's a lot of kind of crazy ideas out there, and then some of the new agey stuff is even like, well, I'm my own God, I can decide for myself. I didn't make myself, I'm not my own God. We need to discern the spirits. St. Ignatius talked about that too, and know that am I doing my duty better? Am I getting closer to Christ? Am I developing a more intimate prayer life with our Lord?
888-318-7884, our number. We start with Teresa in Danville, Michigan, listening on the EWTN app. Teresa, your question for Terry and Mary Barber.
Hi, I homeschool 3 of my 6 kids, and recently we've been studying about the angels in our religion lessons. And my daughter, as witty and intuitive as she is, she pointed out that we are taught, and it's taught that angels are pure spirits without genders, which means they don't have gender. So why is it then that every instance in the Bible that when they appear to humankind that they come as in the male form, they're referred to as he? And
wow, great question,
great
Teresa.
Question.
That is a great question. I think part of that has to do with the angel represents strength. He is absolutely a pure spirit. He does not have a body. And this is St. Raphael in the book of Tobit makes this very clear to Tobias and his father. At the end, I only appeared in a body. I don't have a body. I'm an angel. But the male gender represents strength. The man was made to protect and govern and guide. The woman was made to nurture and to receive. That doesn't mean, that we all receive from God, but there is definitely distinctions between maleness and femaleness, and God made that. I didn't make that. And so the angels, I think, appear as men because of the character of strength and protecting and guiding.
Hope that helped.
Thanks, Teresa, very, very much for that question. We're talking angels today with Terry and Mary Barber. 888-318-7884, the number. Anonymous in California, you are on with Terry and Mary. Your question, please.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. My question is, and it kind of breaks my heart, but my daughter is not practicing her faith right now, and I have a 1-year-old granddaughter, and she's not baptized right now because my daughter's not practicing. And I keep saying to her, as a practicing baptized Catholic, let me just baptize her to get original sin off her soul by, using holy water and just saying, I baptize you in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, until such time as hopefully she, goes back to the church. But anyway, will she get a guardian angel if I do that?
The deal is, if she, and again, you have to talk to the mother, if she's going to be baptized, there's a serious obligation attached to that to make sure that she's raised in the faith. So I would encourage, just talk to your daughter's guardian angel. Ask your angel to go talk to your daughter's guardian angel and collaborate. Ask the angels to collaborate together on behalf of this child. Yes, every baptized person has a guardian angel. Some of the fathers of the church believe that every soul has a guardian angel. So the church isn't absolutely definitive on that, so that the child may already have a guardian angel. If the child is going to be baptized, God already has in mind the angel he's going to assign, so you can already ask your angel to talk to the angel that would be assigned to that child.
And if I could jump in, Teresa, and just say every single day what my wife and I do for our 4 kids, we say the angel prayer, and I would encourage you to do that every day for your granddaughter and your daughter. O angel of God, my guardian dear, to whom God's love commits her there, forever this day be at her side, to light, to guard, to rule and guide. From sinful stain, O keep her free, and in death's hour my helper be. If you ever want that prayer, just email terry@stjoe.com. I'll send it to you. But start praying that prayer because you need supernatural help to get them back into the faith. That's my take.
Anonymous, does that help you?
Yeah, that does.
Okay.
God love you.
Very good. Thank you. I just want to clarify something with both of you, Terry and Mary. Yeah. So what you were saying before is we know that every baptized child has a guardian angel.
Yes.
It may well be that every child has a guardian angel. We just don't. That's just not a settled matter. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's
correct. And biblically, it seems that at least in the old, when Jesus said, "Their angels behold the face of my Father in heaven," he's not talking about baptized children. Now, he's talking about the children of Israel. These are Israelite children who are being brought to him by their mothers. But
I see what you're saying. They were not baptized.
Right, they weren't baptized. This is before baptism was.
Yeah.
So that would suggest that yes, every child has an angel. So feel free to send your angel to collaborate and talk to the angels of the little children.
Tom in Denver, Colorado, listening on 1060 AM. You are on with Mary and Terry Barber. Your question, please.
Yes, thank you for having me on. In Scripture, they mention several angels' names. I believe they're all archangels, as well as a few demons.
Mm-hmm.
And demons are often associated with a certain type of sin or predication. Whether it's a demon of apathy or something along those lines. Would that then conversely mean that there's angels assigned to, say like the spiritual gifts, the fruit of the Spirit?
Okay, so we lost you there a little bit at the end, Tom. But I did catch. I think we got enough to get the basic question in. And Tom will try to check in with you in a second here. But if demons have specialties, demons that tempt us to certain things, or do angels also have specialties? That is, God's angels.
That's a great question. One of the interesting things about angels, Tom, is the Catechism doesn't answer all the questions. Hey, here we got to take a quick break. I hear the bumper music, but I just want to say this. continue to pray to your guardian angel every day for help in any manner that you have during the day. That's my take.
After the break, Tom, we'll come back to your question, see if we can get a full answer to that. 888-31-TRUTH is our number here at Catholic Answers. Today we are talking angels with Terry and Mary Barber. We'll be right back after this.
Catholic Answers Live.
Get an insider's look at the latest information from EWTN. Sign up for Wings, EWTN's weekly email newsletter. Get the latest information about live events, special features, and guests. Connect with EWTN on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Just go to EWTN.com and click on the Wings link to sign up. Don't miss a minute of all that's happening at EWTN. Get your wings today.
Did the Catholic Church add books to the Bible? Or did Protestants remove 7 books from the Old Testament? In Why Catholic Bibles Are Bigger, author Gary Machuda takes you on a fact-filled tour through the history of the Bible, revealing the whole story behind the lost books of the Protestant Old Testament. With the latest information, discourse on crucial issues, and a topical index, Why Catholic Bibles Are Bigger is a book that belongs in the library of every serious student of Scripture. Order your copy of Why Catholic Bibles Are Bigger today by calling 1-888-291-8000, visiting the shop at Catholic.com, or asking for it at a good Catholic bookstore near you. Just like the saints of the Counter-Reformation, our own souls are in constant need of reform, of reconversion to God and His will for us. We struggle with sin. We become distracted in prayer. We find it hard to be loving and easy to be selfish. In Reform Yourself, Sean McAfee shows you how these magnificent saints can be guides to your own personal transformation. We all need to reform our souls. Let the saints who reformed the church show you how. Order your copy of Reform Yourself today by calling 1-888-291-8000, visiting the shop at Catholic.com, or asking for it at a good Catholic bookstore near you.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. Please sign up for our Catholic Answers Radio Club. We'd love to send you a free MP3 of Jimmy Akin's talk from this year's Catholic Answers Conference, What the Reformation Was All About. All you got to do is sign up for the Radio Club newsletter. We don't send you hundreds and dozens and thousands of emails. We just send you a newsletter each week about what's going on here at Catholic Answers, and then some other cool stuff is in it. And you get these free MP3s every now and then. What the Reformation Was All About, free MP3 from Jimmy Akin. It's yours, as I said, for free if you just go to Catholic.com/Radio Club. Catholic.com/Radio Club. We're talking angels this hour with Terry Barber of the Terry and Jesse Show and the author of what has to be just one of the greatest books ever on evangelization, How to Share Your Faith with Anyone, a practical manual for Catholic evangelization, and by Mary Barber, a master of biblical theology. Her master's comes from John Paul the Great Catholic University, and she teaches Bible studies in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. And Terry, if I could just say,
Sure.
how to share your faith with anyone, it's full of stories.
I'm a storyteller, and I'll just give you one quickie, and because it's a kind of an angel story, but it really points out how important stories are to sharing the faith with people. And this is real quick, and then we'll get back to that question about the gentleman's question. But you know what? I'm just going to tell people, if they want a copy of the book, How to Share Your Faith with Anyone, go to CatholicRC.org. I won't tell the story because this is all on angels. Let's answer the gentleman's question before the break.
Okay, I see. All right.
I'm sorry.
I
got carried away. You set me up on my book. I'm like, I'm not going to talk about my book. We'll answer the guy's question.
You know what, Terry? I've gotten to the point. I know if I ask you a question, I'm ready for an answer. Like I know you're going to answer it. But okay, so Mary, maybe back to you, because Tom in Colorado did ask us about if angels have particular roles. Are there particular roles connected to the angels?
Correct. And John Paul II affirmed in his August 6, 1986 audience that the angels are arranged in what we call choirs. We can deduce from sacred scripture that angels as it were grouped together in society, are divided into orders and grades corresponding to the measure of their perfection and to the tasks entrusted to them. The ancient authors and the liturgy itself also speak of angelic choirs, and the church generally designates 9 choirs of angels. In terms of specific charisms, I don't know if but the choirs, they have different tasks.
I see.
Yes. And one of the places that people can go for information on the angels, if they really want to get synopsis on these things, there's opusangelorum.org, opusangelorum.org, and they have most asked questions.
Yep,
they have,
frequently asked.
They have frequently asked questions. They have a catechesis on the angels, the comments from the Compendium of the Catholic Church. They have the dictionary on the popular piety, the popes and the angels, what the catechism says, and these things are all available on their website. So I don't know if that directly answers this question, but the angels are arranged in choirs, and that's they're in a.
These words are very. They're words that can work for us as images, but since we don't know pure spirit, like we don't have any visual image that can completely convey what pure spirit is. Right. Like even to say choirs, I think people might. This is not a literal, like a box with one choir in it and another box with another choir in it. These are images that are supposed to, that's correct, Mary, right?
That's correct. Yep. That is absolutely correct. And one of the things that, what we see in the visible world, the way God arranged his kahal in the Old Testament, his church, the Old Testament Israelite community, and also in the New Testament, the hierarchical structure of the church is a reflection of the hierarchical structure of the angels. As a matter of fact, the hierarchical structure of the church is secondary. The hierarchical structure of the angels comes first. So you have the cherubim and the seraphim, who are the ones closest to God, and then...
And that corresponds to radio hosts here. Ah! No? Oh, sorry. You said yep, Terry.
I said yes, I'm a radio host. No, I'm joking. I love it.
888-318-7884, the number. If you have questions about angels, we'd be happy to talk with you about angels. Terry, go ahead. You have to finish.
No, the question came up. The question came up that a lot of people ask: is it possible for someone to receive a second guardian angel? Wherever I go, they ask that question. So here's the answer: we receive only one guardian angel during our lifetime, who is our personal guardian. St. Thomas Aquinas, the angelic doctor, said this. However, with a number of other theologians hold that not only bishops receive an additional angel to help them fulfill their responsibilities when they are ordained, but also that certain types of public officials who have grave responsibilities, for example, rulers of nations, governors of state, large communities, receive an additional angel to help them rule and guide. This is all in the Summa. But let me mention this. The next time you go to Mass, my folks that are listening, know this. There's an angel to the side of that priest saying Mass. There's angels in the church when we're at Mass.
Right.
Because we bring heaven down to earth when we're at Mass. So think about that the next time you're at Mass. And don't forget to call on your guardian angel every day to help you get closer to Jesus.
888-318-7884, our number. We're talking angels with Terry and Mary Barber, and I think the choirs of angels might be better than the choir at my church, Terry. I'm glad that they're there. Yolanda in Dallas, Texas, listening on Guadalupe Radio. Your question for the Barbers on angels.
Good afternoon. This question sounds rather redundant given some of the conversation that has gone on, but my question is directed at Mary, who said that, and she said this is not a clear teaching on angels, only the baptized having angels. And in our God who created everything and said that it was good, very good, and we know that we have righteous pagans. How would there not be angels for those who are living the moral life, who have perhaps have never had the opportunity to be evangelized, but who live the moral life? How could they not have angels helping to guide them?
Fair enough. Let's let Yolanda. Let's let him take a shot at that. Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
And again, I bring up what I mentioned about when Jesus spoke in the New Testament to his apostles and said, their angels continually behold the face of our Father. The church does have limitations on what she absolutely defines, and she's very careful about absolutely defining something, because once it's absolutely defined, it's set in stone. And so it becomes difficult for that dogma to develop anymore. There's a development of dogma. And so, yes, there were fathers of the church who believed that everyone has a guardian angel. And yes, absolutely God sends the angels to help us. And so that each person has an angel, yes, that's definitely a possibility. Obviously, a person who is living according to God's law, even if they're not visibly a part of the Catholic Church, is receiving that grace through the mediation of the Catholic Church and the merits of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And that's
what I was just going to say.
Vatican II was very clear that,
yes.
And even Augustine, back in Augustine's times, Augustine said, there are many who appear to be one with us who are not, and there are those who do not appear to be one with us who are. And so, yeah, God doesn't see things as we see them. And again, as Thomas Aquinas said in regards to the sacraments, we're bound by the sacraments, but God is not. So,
Amen.
yes, God can work with everyone. And we're not strictly bound, as it were, if the person's not responsible for not knowing the fullness of the Catholic faith, but they're trying their best to live God's truth. Yes, God is going to give them the grace.
Amen.
And very possibly, yes, he's given them a guardian angel.
What do you think about that, Yolanda?
Well, here again, now she's saying Catholic faith, but if anyone who's received a Trinitarian baptism, then have.
Well, then, yes, but we don't believe there's two churches or three churches as Catholics. I mean, there's one Church of Christ that's most, how would we say it, subsists most fully in the Catholic Church. So we don't say a Lutheran has a different baptism or a Methodist has a different baptism. We just say they should be coming to the Catholic Church, putting their money in the collection plate. Is that it, Terry? Okay, all right.
Yolanda,
not quite that
Yolanda,
side.
I love your questions, and I would say, like my wife just said, God can work outside the sacraments. He can even work outside of you and me. I'm joking, Yolanda. So I love your question, and I know one thing just by listening to you that you love Jesus. Is that a fair statement, Yolanda?
That is more than fair.
I knew it. I knew it. Well, praise God.
Thanks
for calling.
Thank you, Yolanda. Terry, you're so quiet and reserved. You need to get fired up a little bit. I think we better take a quick break. More calls on angels. Want to get to as many as we can before the top of the hour, so we will take the quick break now. We'll be right back with more on angels with Terry and Mary Barber right after this on Catholic Answers Live.
Catholic Answers Live. We're here for you.
I met my husband in my first year of college. We both came from strong Catholic families and wanted lots of children. After 3 years of marriage and still not pregnant, we felt our dream of a big family slipping away. My sister encouraged us to visit our local Catholic store and get a novena to St. Gerard. When we arrived, we were unsure about our need, but the staff was kind and helpful. Wow, what an incredible Catholic store. They encouraged us to pray and trust in God's providence. One worker told us stories of other couples, just like us, who were desperate to start a family. 4 years and 2 children later, we have been back to that incredible Catholic store for baby, baptism, and toddler gifts. God bless the staff at that incredible Catholic store. An incredible Catholic store in your area can be found at IncredibleCatholicStore.com. The Incredible Catholic Store, transforming the world one soul at a time.
You've heard that St. Paul Street Evangelization supports hundreds of teams of evangelists sharing the good news. But did you know that some of these teams are public prayer stations? Set up a sign on the sidewalk and offer prayer and encouragement to those you encounter. Everyone needs prayer. Try this new method of witnessing to Jesus. Contact St. Paul Street Evangelization to get started at streetevangelization.com. That's streetevangelization.com.
What are angels? What powers do demons have? Do demons ever possess places or things? In 20 Answers, Angels and Demons, you'll find smart, solid answers to these questions and many more, helping you understand these mysterious and powerful beings, as well as helping you avoid the snares and harms of those angels who disobeyed God and fell from his favor, the demons. 20 Answers, Angels and Demons is part of the 20 Answers series from Catholic Answers, offering hard facts, powerful arguments, and clear explanations of the most important topics facing the Church and the world, all in a compact, easy-to-read package. Visit shop.catholic.com today and take a look at this exciting new series from Catholic Answers Press.
Call now with your question. 888-318-7884. This is Catholic Answers Live.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. This is a fast-moving hour. I think I like talking about angels, and it seems our callers do as well. Lots and lots of calls about angels for Terry and Mary Barber. 888-318-7884 is the number. Is Isaiah still on the line, or did we lose him? All right, that's okay. We have a child wanted to talk to you, but we maybe he'll dial back. Isaiah, dial back. We'll put you on the air. So we'll go instead to Leslie in Victoria, Texas, listening on the Catholic Answers app. Leslie, your question for Terry and Mary Barber.
Hi. My question is, I have a 4-year-old daughter who is fascinated with angels and the concept of guardian angel. She likes to imagine the color that the guardian angels, the color of the dress they wear for all the different family members. But at nighttime, she becomes very adamant that she's afraid of bad dreams. And she becomes very adamant that we pray to her guardian angel to scare away her bad dreams. I mean, to the point where if we don't say the prayer, she'll wake up in the middle of the night and come ask me to pray it. And I was wondering if that was sound theology or if I was kind of propagating something that I shouldn't. I guess I was kind of curious if that was a good way to pray or not.
No, that is absolutely a good way to pray.
She's spot on.
The angels and the demons don't have access directly to our intellect, but they can definitely suggest things to our imagination. And so, things that we've come in much of our dreams at night are simply kind of our mind trying to order and categorize everything that came toward us that day. But it's a good idea to pray to your angel at night and ask your angel to help you have peaceful dreams, to sleep peacefully. Sleep is very important to us. We have a body. The angels don't. They don't have to sleep. But we have a body, and if we don't get enough sleep at night, we can't do our duty the next day. So, no, absolutely. Have your daughter pray to her angel at night, and ask her to really entrust herself to the angel in the sense that try to let go of your fears. Never forget to pray your angel prayer, but try to let the fear go, because we want to trust in Jesus just like the angels do.
And if I can also make a comment that I do, Leslie, I'm 60 years old, and I tell my kids to do this when they were children. I have an image of Jesus in a big picture frame where he's with the little children. And before I go to bed, I ask permission to jump in the lap of Jesus before I go to sleep. If you practice that Ignatian spirituality of putting yourself in the lap of Jesus, then I think that will help your daughter go to sleep. But that's something that I've been doing for years, and I'm an old man, so it works for me.
How's that, Leslie?
Can I ask another quick question out of curiosity?
Yes, you can.
Are all the angels already created, or does God create them as he creates a new soul, like a new person?
No, all the angels were created in the beginning.
That's
when
right.
God said, "Let there be light."
Okay.
And can I throw one more thing in? I know we're short on time, but the question comes, can the holy angels or the devils know our secret thoughts? No, they cannot. For only God himself can know what we're thinking at all times. Only God himself can know the depths of our soul. For this reason, St. Thomas Aquinas states in no uncertain terms that the angels do not know the secrets of our hearts. Nevertheless, as he goes on to explain, angels and devils can sometimes figure out what we might be thinking, and they can do this in 2 ways. For the thought is sometimes discovered not merely by our outward act, but also by the change of our countenance. This is right in the Summa Theologica. For example, our face can look happy or sad. If we're thinking uplifting or depressing thoughts, further, our thoughts about other persons can be reflected not only in the way we say about them, but also by the way in which we appear and react when coming into their presence. So we keep in mind that the angels and devils have not only superhuman intellects, but also thousands of years of experience of observing the behavior of human beings under all kinds of conditions and circumstances.
Leslie, thank you very, very much for that call. 888-318-7884 is our number. We're talking angels with Terry and Mary Barber, and we go now to John in Falls Church, Virginia, listening on Guadalupe Radio. John, your question for Terry and Mary.
Hi. So I'm tweaking my question a little bit. I was going to ask if you could elaborate on the angels from the perspective of, say, Thomas Aquinas. However, since I've asked that question earlier, you guys have kept delving into it, which is exciting. I was curious if you could bring in the church father perspective, some particular church fathers, I guess.
Absolutely.
So what did the church fathers believe about the angels, John?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
About how many angels, if you had a second angel, all that.
Well,
Go ahead, Mom.
Terry and Mary
No, you
are
go ahead.
trying to decide who's going to
We've
answer
only
the
been
question.
married 30 years,
I
so
know.
gosh, what can I
know.
say? I love
Your angel has
I
befuddled
talk
you.
too much all the time. Let my wife answer that
Well,
one.
but if I may ask though, is kind of connected to John's question, and
Yeah.
I mean you can answer this. The church teaching on angels developed, so it's like some of the early church fathers, they didn't know if angels are physical or spiritual. They weren't sure, and these things got worked out.
That's right.
Over the
Took
course
centuries.
of time.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Right, and the Catechism of the Catholic Church does quote St. Augustine on the angels.
That's right.
And St. Basil is the one who taught that every baptized person has a guardian angel. That's some of the things that came up. If you look at the Catechism of the Catholic Church, they're quoting from the fathers of the church in regards to the angels, some of these things that were worked out over the years. St. Jerome and St. Basil the Great believed the guardian angel is assigned at baptism. St. Anselm, on the other hand, goes a step further, saying that every soul is committed to an angel when it is united with the body. So, again, those things were never, there were different opinions, and they definitely believed what our Lord had said about the children having angels. And so I haven't really I'm going to be honest here. I didn't go as far as looking into the fathers of the church on this other than what I saw in the catechism and what I have before me from the catechism. So there's a lot more in the fathers, I'm sure, about the whole discussion and how they worked out the different, what does the church actually believe on the angels?
888, John, thank you very much
Thanks,
for your question. 888-318-7884 is our number, 888-31-TRUTH. We're talking angels with Terry and Mary Barber. It's hard for me not to say Terry and Jesse when I talk to you, because I always feel like you two go together. But I imagine Jesse's nervous now, hearing how good Mary does next to you, Terry. I imagine Jesse's nervous at this moment.
He's having fun.
Let's go to Wyatt in Tiffin, Ohio, listening on 103.3 FM. Wyatt, your question for Terry and Mary Barber.
So I understand that all angels were created in the beginning when God said, "Let there be light."
Mm-hmm.
But as the human population grows, and it always will, until God takes us all back to heaven. But what happens if there becomes more people than there is angels?
Well, Wyatt, I think in the beginning, for God, there is no time. So in the beginning, when God created, in his mind, he sees all of creation. That doesn't mean it all actually exists. So he knows, the number of angels he created. He knows the number of human beings who will be created. And so there will be no deficit because God is perfection, and he is able to work all that out. And that's, the mystery of God. He is so far beyond our ability to comprehend.
And why? Well, let me just mention this too, because you're a long ways away, but we have Father William Wagner, who really has formed us for the last 35 years from the Opus Angelorum, coming to California to do a series called the Spiritual Warfare Conference, the 13th of January. And those who want to register or even get the recordings, because this is so important. I actually have something on what every Catholic needs to know about angels by Father William. If people want that, they can call 877-526-2151, because as Scott Hahn said, he's the top of the food chain on angelology. And when Scott Hahn says that Father William's the best theologian on angels, you can take that to the bank. You can call 877-526-2151 or go online to catholicrc.org and get closer to your angel. If you miss this, The unemployment rate, yes, for guardian angels is way too high. Let's put them to work.
888-318-7884 is our number. Wyatt, thank you so much for that call. Terry and Mary, I got to on Facebook. Now we have a little bit of a debate going on. So you said that the angels, neither the angels nor the demons, can know what's in the depths of our hearts. And this is the question from Andy on Facebook. Does that mean then that we have to speak out loud for our guardian angel to hear us, and then the demons would be able to hear us? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay, so how might I speak to my angel?
You can do it by even thoughts, by your thinking. You don't have to verbalize with them. They understand your thoughts.
Because they communicate with us through God. Yep. God knows our thoughts, and God will communicate to our good angel anything that our good angel needs to know to help us along our path towards salvation. And he's not going to communicate those things to the demons. So God knows our thoughts, and the angels are in union with God.
Well
so
said.
he communicates to the angel.
Okay, so thank you very much, Andy, and thanks for everybody who joins us on Facebook, YouTube, or Periscope. Let's see if we can get one more question in before we have to go. Carl in Carson City, Nevada, listening on Relevant Radio. Your question for Terry and Mary Barber.
Hi, Terry. Hi, Mary.
Hey,
Hi.
Carol.
I just wanted to ask, what can we do to show appreciation to our angel for what they've done for us already?
Awesome question. Go ahead,
Awesome.
Mom.
One of the things you can do to show appreciation to your guardian angel, when you go to Mass and receive Holy Communion, ask our dear Lord to allow your angel to participate in this Holy Communion. Remember that your angel is always at your side, so be attentive to him. Pray well. Say your guardian angel prayer every day, and when you go to Mass, ask our Lord to let your angel participate in your Holy Communion. And always remember to be thanking your guardian angel every day for everything that he's done for you.
Well said. I won't add anything more to that. That's awesome. That's what we need to do. Hope that helped.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
That was Carl.
Oh, Carl.
Carl in Carson City. Thanks, Carl. 888-318-7884 is our number. We earlier we lost Isaiah's call, and I feel bad about it because Isaiah's a child that wanted to ask you about angels. And so Isaiah called from Greenville, Texas, and he was listening to Guadalupe Radio. And this was his question for you.
Yep.
Do angels have personalities?
Well, angels are not bodies. They don't have a body. They're a pure spirit. They have an intellect and a will.
Hang on a sec. Hang on a quick sec, because Isaiah he's back.
Oh, God bless Isaiah.
Isaiah, I'm sorry. Did you want to ask your question to Terry and Mary? Isaiah? Okay.
No,
so
he's shy. That's okay.
Isaiah's shy. So so his question was, do they have personalities? And Mary, I was fussing with the phones. The answer is,
they don't have personalities. Personalities are associated with having a body. And we have bodies.
Okay.
The angels are pure spirits. They have a pure intellect and a will. So they don't have a body. But the angels are very close to us. They love us dearly. They're a brother and a friend at our side. So don't let the personality thing get in the way of having a relationship with your angel.
that's a pretty advanced question from a youngster.
I would say so.
Thanks, Isaiah. Sorry we weren't able to get you on the air, Isaiah. I feel terrible about it. Terry and Mary Barber, thank you so much for talking angels with us today.
God bless you, folks.
Our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Next year we'll get you on October 2nd. And and Mary, you're available to do this without Terry sometime?
I guess.
Okay, all right. Very good. Glad to hear it. Next hour, Dr. Pia De Seleni will be here. We're going to talk about women's role in the world. That is, a Catholic woman's role in the world. We often talk about what's a woman's role in the church, but is there a special calling for a Catholic woman in the world, especially given all that we are hearing about the way women are treated in the workplace and the burdens women bear in the world? Pia De Seleni, theologian and chancellor of the Diocese of Orange, will be with us to discuss that right after this on Catholic Answers Live.
Welcome to Catholic Answers Live, the program where you participate with your questions about apologetics and evangelization, including the most important theological, spiritual, moral, and social issues facing the world today. Call now with your question for today's guest. Toll free 1-888-31-TRUTH. That's 888-318-7884. Now, from San Diego, Catholic Answers Live.
Once again, closing out the work week with another great hour. This hour, we consider the role of Catholic women in the world. I am your host, Cy Kellett. And we ask, is there a special role for Catholic women in evangelizing the world and building a culture of dignity, of life, of love? Or is it maybe dangerous to talk about women's role in the world, especially when we live in a world where women are moving into every field of endeavor? And maybe there's a danger that our image of where women should be might be too limiting. Give us a call with your thoughts, your questions on the role of Catholic women in the world. 888-318-7884, our number, 888-31-TRUTH. The role of Catholic women in the world. Our guest this hour is moral theologian and cultural analyst, Dr. Pia De Seleni. Dr. De Seleni holds a doctorate in sacred theology from the Pontifical University of the Holy Cross in Rome, and this summer she was appointed Chancellor of the Diocese of Orange, California by Bishop Kevin Vann. Dr. De Seleni, thanks for being with us on Catholic Answers Live.
Hi, Cy. It's great to be with you.
So what is it like to be the boss of the bishop? Like that, when you're Chancellor of the Diocese, are you the boss or is he still the boss?
Yeah, no.
Oh, we're not going there, huh?
No, it was funny. The other day, something came up at the office, and I said, well, who do I have to run this through to get permission? And the two people I was working with looked at me and said, you're the chancellor. You get to sign off on this.
Yeah, they let you make decisions now, huh? So, what?
Yeah,
if I may,
exciting.
So our question this hour is the role of Catholic women in the world, heading out into the world. But and you, we've seen you on CNN and Fox News and all these big fancy pants media outlets where you share the Catholic perspective and do a wonderful job of it. Now you're the Chancellor of a diocese. What do you do as Chancellor of a diocese? What does that mean?
Well, it depends on the diocese, quite honestly. Canonically, the chancellor is secretary and notary to the curia, which means I make sure that if the bishop signs something, it's his signature. I'm not a civil notary, I'm just a canonical one. And
really?
Canonically, the chancellor is also responsible for the archives. And I'm specifically in a leadership role. Bishop Vann wanted me to be in that role. And then the tradition in the United States, because I did a lot of research into this, has, over the past 150 years, has been all over the place. Because remember, the United States, we were, mission territory, it's frontier land. And so the chancellor, it just depended on what else the bishop needed in each diocese. So the role of the chancellor varies diocese by diocese. And we're lucky in the Diocese of Orange. We have a wonderful auxiliary bishop, Bishop Tim Fryer, who can take on a lot of the management roles.
I see.
And we have another bishop-elect, another auxiliary bishop coming on in December. And so my role is that specific canonical part, and then the bulk of my responsibilities are as theological advisor to the bishop. So, and again, in most dioceses, I would say that the chancellor is someone who is an attorney, a canon lawyer, or an administrator. My role is a little bit is rather unique, and then again, the role of chancellor is unique everywhere.
So, just between you and me, and I will not discuss this with anyone. For a woman to have that role of responsibility in the church, are you treated with respect? Is it kind of a breaking the glass ceiling kind of? And it's just between you and me. Dr. De Seleni. No one else.
Just between you, just the two of us, no one else.
Yeah.
And so in the United States, we have a lot of women chancellors. Since 1983, when the Code of Canon Law was updated, lay people, both women and men, were allowed to fill this role. Up to that point, the chancellor had to be a cleric. And so, but there are a lot of lay men and lay women that hold this role. It's not really a glass ceiling sort of thing. I will tell you that in my career, the time that I spent working in the Vatican and some of the time that I spent doing graduate work in a pontifical university, those were some of the times and spaces that I felt most respected as a woman. Definitely more so than time that I spent in Washington, D.C., and other places that I've worked, it was unique. And I'm very lucky to have the colleagues that I have right now.
Well, you never worked for Harvey Weinstein, though. So you're
Let's not go there.
I guess I say that because not to pick on Harvey Weinstein or anybody, but there's this image that in the secular workplace, this is where a woman is going to be treated with respect and dignity and valued for her contributions. And you're saying you found that within the halls of Catholic academia and the governance of the Catholic Church more than in any other place.
I'm going to clarify that. I would say one pontifical university in particular, which is Santa Croce. That's where I studied. And then, and I did have interaction at other places. And then when I worked at the Vatican, which again was a short time, I did do some contract work there. I've represented the Holy See at the Organization of American States. I did that for, maybe 8-10 years. So in those settings, I have to say I felt much more respected than I have in many secular environments.
888-318-7884 is our number. We're talking about the role of Catholic women in the world today. 888-318-7884. Is that a fair question to ask? I mean, is it a reasonable thing to ask? Is there a special role for a Catholic woman in the world today?
I think we need to be asking that question. That is, under the pontificate of St. John Paul II, Cardinal Ratzinger, who became Pope Benedict XVI, signed the document on the collaboration of men and women in the church and society. And so that document, I think, was published in 2004. And I always laugh. It came out like end of July or something. And so, of course, the way that the press treats it is church wants women barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. And then they cited all these, experts without names. And I laughed because I thought, well, wait a minute. I lived in Rome for 6 years. Let me tell you, if you're finding a Vatican expert in Rome at the end of July or anytime in August, that is that's someone that runs the restrooms, runs the post office, opens the doors at St. Peter's. The theological experts and the church experts are no one sane is in Rome at that time of year. And I know the Holy Father I should be careful there. The Holy Father has decided to take on that special cross of not going on vacation lots of times. But it is in 2004, you were not going to find experts. So then I actually read the document, and as to be expected, surprise, surprise, the media had its own slant on this. And National Catholic Reporter actually took a piece from me on this, because I said, this is not fair, the way that this is being presented. And one of the points that the document makes that some conservatives were actually upset about is that women have a role in every aspect of society. And I try and clarify this with people. I think people get nervous about what this means. And it doesn't mean that every woman has a role in every aspect of society at one time. And we have this tendency to look at a woman's life as she's got to get everything done by the time she's 26.
Right.
She has to have an education. She has to have a career. And by the way, we want her married, to a handsome man that makes good money, is a good provider. And we want her pursuing her own career. And somewhere in there, she's supposed to have 2.5 children, right?
Yeah.
And we don't look at it as, there are phases to our lives, both men and women. And we don't need to try and cram everything into the first few years of our adult life. So I think that, there's not a one-size-fits-all. And when I was teaching, my students would get frustrated because what they wanted was the checklist. What is a Catholic woman supposed to do? Let me check it off. And the same for men. And St. John Paul II once said, we have been freed from the box of so-called feminism. And meaning, I think, that we are, there's not this cookie-cutter model that's going to work to say this is what a Catholic woman looks like. This is what a Catholic man looks like. Rather, there's some discernment, and it's going to play out differently according to people's state in life, their vocations, their family situations. It just works out differently for different people. And what's important is that we have the ability to foster our vocation and the openness and the courage, I think, and then again, it differs for so many people. We can't say every Catholic woman should be doing X, Y, and Z, or every Catholic man. It just doesn't. That's foolish. It's not consistent. It's not compatible with the idea of human dignity that the Church puts forth.
888-31-TRUTH, our number, 888-318-7884. Dr. Pia De Saleni is our guest this hour. Dr. De Saleni has a doctorate in theology and is the chancellor of the Catholic Diocese of Orange here in California, just to the north of us here in San Diego. And lots of calls coming in. If you'd like to get your call in this hour with Dr. De Saleni, please give us a call, 888-318-7884. We have to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more on the role of a Catholic woman in the world with Dr. Pia De Saleni.
Bringing you the truth. Catholic Answers Live.
Hello, my friends. Chris Check here, president of Catholic Answers. It's October, the month of the Holy Rosary, and it's also the month Catholic Answers starts its winter sale at shop.catholic.com. We are offering great discounts on all of the books, DVDs, CDs, ebooks, and MP3s that we carry. We have great new releases in church history, scripture, apologetics, spiritual formation, Bible prophecy, and lives of saints. In other words, something for everyone. What's more, our shop site has been completely redesigned. It's much easier to navigate and use. Indeed, you should visit shop.catholic.com just to see the new site. Just enter the promo code WINTER at checkout and you'll save 20% off your total purchase. That's right, 20% off hundreds of great Catholic books, DVDs, CDs, ebooks, and MP3s from now until the end of the year. That's shop.catholic.com.
Catholic Answers Live is brought to you in part by CatholicSingles.com, the website for Catholics who want to meet others who share their faith and values for faith, fellowship, and love. You can learn more at CatholicSingles.com. Catholic Answers Live thanks CatholicSingles.com for their generous support.
It might be said that anti-Catholic notions of the Church's history are the original fake news. With all the misinformation being spread, where does one look for the truth? In The Real Story of Catholic History, Professor Steve Weidenkopf gives you the facts on over 50 of the most common misconceptions about Catholic history and shows how to answer them simply and powerfully. Whether it's to answer claims about Catholicism's supposedly pagan origins, old myths about the Inquisition that never seem to go away, or more modern errors that anti-Catholics put forth, The Real Story of Catholic History is an essential resource for every Catholic's bookshelf. Order your copy of The Real Story of Catholic History today by calling 1-888-291-8000, visiting the shop at Catholic.com, or asking for it at a good Catholic bookstore near you.
Call now with your question, 888-318-7884. This is Catholic Answers Live.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. Dr. Pia De Saleni is our guest, and we are talking about the role of Catholic women in the world. Dr. De Saleni, we all have a vocation to evangelize in the world. Does that, I guess the way to ask it is, does that mean something different for women in general than for men? That is, do women have a special role or a different role to play in the evangelization of the world, in the sharing the good news?
Yeah, I think we do, and I think men have a different role too. So one of the gifts that John Paul II gave us, one of the many gifts, I think he advanced the conversation, because for decades it had been, women and men, women can do, I can do what you do, anything you can do, I can do, right? So he said, look, in so many words, he said, look, we understand that men and women can do the same things. Sometimes women excel at things, and are better than men at them. That's not what it's about. What the question is that we should be asking ourselves is, how is it that being a man or being a woman affects what I do? Which is a much more profound question. It's a metaphysical question. Again, it's not something that, it's almost intangible, it's hard to nail down. And I offer, and this is, I think, consistent with church teaching, that what finally, at the end of the day, whether men and women are living a life where they're married, religious, clerics, single, whatever, what's unique to women is maternity, and what's unique to men is paternity. And we are each called to live our respective maternity or paternity according to our state in life. And I keep using these qualifiers because I don't want to create a box again that we're putting people into. But I think living maternity is really important. And in that document on the collaboration of men and women in the church, they also made the point that the vocation of women is to show the church, including men, how to respond to Christ as the bride, how to be bride. And what comes with the bride is maternity, whether we're talking about the supernatural sense or the natural sense. And I think we have to be living that vocation to maternity, whether we have biological children or not.
So are you saying by that all men, whether in a spiritual or a physical sense, are called to be fathers? All women, whether in a spiritual sense or a physical sense, are called to be mothers?
Okay, so since I'm an academic, I'm going to tweak that a little bit. I would say that all women are called to be spiritual mothers. All men are called to be spiritual fathers. Some women are called to be, biological mothers, right. and some men biological fathers. But everybody's called to live this out on a spiritual level. You call it metaphysical if you want, but you're called to live this out. And we're talking about a healthy example, not an example of women running around, cleaning up after men and making sure that their noses are blown and treating them like children. No, but looking to Our Lady as an example of a strong woman. Yeah. That's what's really wonderful. The church has such a tradition, and it's got lost kind of in the post-Enlightenment age. And if you go back before that, the church had such an understanding, you see it in the art in particular, of being able to see women as strong, but in a very feminine way. And one of the things that comes to mind most immediately is if you're in Palermo and you go to the cathedral there, guarding the cathedral are the statues of 4 women. You don't see any men guarding the cathedral. It's 4 women. And they are the 4 patronesses of Palermo and Sicily, and they are all beautiful and all unequivocally feminine, right? And all undeniably strong. And it's just expressed and communicated in a different way than, let's say, statues of the apostles or St. Michael.
And you're saying these statues went up before the modern feminist movement, or
way before? They're
really?
Probably. I'd have to double check, but they might be close to 1,000 years old. I don't know, maybe only 800. But there's a lot of art like that. If you look at the older church art again, pre-Enlightenment, the representation of women is very, very different in a beautiful way. If you're at the Mission in Santa Barbara, have you ever been up there? Okay, so yes. I joke, I call that the feminist Madonna, and I use that term. I'm just joking. I don't want to rile everybody up. But if you go in, if you look at the Madonna, the one up behind on the main altar, she's not holding Jesus. St. Joseph is holding Jesus.
Oh.
Now that mission goes back to the 18th century.
Yeah. Well, what a beautiful image of the Holy Family, though, because at some point, Joseph had to hold Jesus. He couldn't like that. He would be a terrible father.
One of the best images I've seen of St. Joseph as father of Jesus is there's a bronze statue at the Catholic Information Center in downtown D.C. I honestly wish that they would. I think they could make money and raise funds if they made some type of a duplicate that was affordable to buy, because Joseph is this. He's on the youngish side. He's not 150 years old, and he's carrying baby Jesus, who's probably not a baby, he's a little bit bigger. And baby Jesus is so relaxed that his arm and his leg were just kind of, hanging off the sides, utterly relaxed, and you can just see that he's totally secure in the love of his father, St. Joseph. It's beautiful.
888-318-7. Sorry, go aahead. I was just giving out the phone number.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, there used to be that prayer. So in the Tridentine Mass that the priest would say before Mass, and it was something like, asking God to allow him to carry Jesus the way that St. Joseph did.
Oh, that was in the Tridentine Mass. Oh, wow.
It was a quiet prayer that the priest would say before Mass.
Yeah, all of these things that you're saying, it gives an impression that we kind of are told a lie pretty regularly about that Christianity was somehow anti-woman or something for all these centuries. But the medieval image of women is in many ways far the superior to the modern image that we're often given in modern media and that kind of thing. I think it's good to be reminded about that. And also, I'm sorry I interrupted you. I'm very intimidated that because you're the chancellor of the diocese. I will not do that again. I don't want to get fired.
Oh, come on. You were intimidated the last time when we did Catholic Answers at Religious Ed.
I wasn't what?
You weren't intimidated when we did Catholic Answers at
Well, you
Religious
weren't
Ed.
you weren't the chancellor of the diocese then. I was.
I know, but it's the same person.
I'm not just scared of a theologian. You got to get a power position. Then I'm scared. Teresa in Santa Fe, New Mexico, listening on 96.7. You are on with Dr. Pia de Seleni, the powerful chancellor of the Diocese of Orange. Your question, please.
Hi. Thank you very much for having me on your program. I'm not a chancellor of anything. I'm just a regular woman out here.
You and me.
Single, available, and I'm sorry I don't know. My role as a woman is become quite confusing to me because, it's depicted in the Holy Word that, we're to be subservient to our husbands and to men because we're the weaker of the two sexes. And so, when that conflicts with the word that is further described, in the Ten Commandments, and there are certain expectations that the Lord tries to guide us with, and it's become quite confusing in this world, modern world that we live in, and I don't quite know how that fits together, and what is expected of a woman to be subservient to a man, and yet to serve God at the same time when those two things might come in conflict.
Thank you, Teresa. Dr. de Seleni?
Yeah, Teresa, first of all, I think that concept of subservient, first of all, I would challenge is not authentically Catholic. If you're looking at Ephesians 5, when it says, wives, be submissive to your husband, there's a lot. Well, first of all, the Catholic tradition is very interesting there. When St. Thomas Aquinas writes about that, he says that the submission that's required is a civil submission, not a servile submission. So a civil submission is what is necessary to kind of, to have a group or a community, even a community of two people. Someone has to be the head of it. Somebody has to give the final say. It doesn't mean that person is stronger, more intelligent, holier. It means that they have a functional role, right? We elect a president of the United States. It doesn't mean that person is the most virtuous, the most intelligent, the most anything. What it means is they have a functional role. So when we talk about a civil submission, it's just like an economic submission. I mean, in football, you've got the captain of the team, but frequently the team is relying on the quarterback, right? So it doesn't involve somebody giving up their will. It is simply a civil submission, and it means how do we organize a group of people that's larger than one? From two on up, somebody's got to have the lead, right? And I would also say, if you look at Scripture, Our Lady is particularly in the wedding at Cana. She's very forceful, and some of our Protestant sisters and brothers hear that, and when Jesus says, "My hour has not yet come," they take that as a rebuke. And what we do is we see Mary, she persists. And what she has, I think, is a gift. She is able to perceive a need, and then she wants to take action. What I see in Mary is consistently, from the Annunciation, she hears, she receives, and she acts, right? She has the angel Gabriel come to her with this amazing message that's bigger than what Zechariah was told. And poor Zechariah is like spinning his wheels, can't talk for the next 9 or 10 months. And she comes, the angel appears to her, and she asks the same question that Zechariah does. How, right? But she listens, and she takes it in. And instead of saying, that's impossible, she says, okay, I will let God work in me. I will let God, the Holy Spirit, come upon me. Fiat, let it be done, right? And then what's the next thing that she does? She goes to see Elizabeth because she has heard and received this news that her cousin is expecting, and she goes to help her, right? And if we look at the foot of the cross, I mean, the consistent Catholic tradition, looking to what we see in Scripture, is that the women were stronger than the men. You know, the apostles, all but the beloved disciple John, were gone. You know, it was women at the foot of the cross, not the apostles, not other men. It was women and the beloved disciple John. And there's lots written by the doctors of the church, fathers of the church, and various saints putting that out there. So the first thing I would say is I want to rework the idea of subservient. And I would say, you know, St. Thomas says that husband and wife come together to form a social union, right? And that union is not just ordered towards having children, but it's ordered towards getting to heaven together.
Teresa, thank you so much for that call. We have to go to a break now. Dr. Pia De Selene is our guest. Dr. De Selene, a commenter on culture that you have seen in various places, including on your regular television stations, CNN and Fox and all those. Today we're talking about the role of Catholic women in the world. Give us a call, 888-318-7884. We'll be right back.
We're here for you. Give us a call today on Catholic Answers Live.
It might be said that anti-Catholic notions of the Church's history are the original fake news. With all the misinformation being spread, where does one look for the truth? In The Real Story of Catholic History, Professor Steve Weidenkopf gives you the facts on over 50 of the most common misconceptions about Catholic history and shows how to answer them simply and powerfully. Whether it's to answer claims about Catholicism's supposedly pagan origins, old myths about the Inquisition that never seem to go away, or more modern errors that anti-Catholics put forth, The Real Story of Catholic History is an essential resource for every Catholic's bookshelf. Order your copy of The Real Story of Catholic History today by calling 1-888-291-8000, visiting the shop at Catholic.com, or asking for it at a good Catholic bookstore near you.
As the legend goes, the Protestant Reformation began when Martin Luther nailed the list of his grievances with the Catholic Church to the door of All Saints Church in Wittenberg, Germany. But do you know the whole story? In Catholic Answer's brand new documentary, The Protestant Revolution, you will hear from top apologists Tim Staples, Jimmy Akin, Carla Broussard, Trent Horn, and Steve Weidenkopf as they expose the errors of Martin Luther and of the other so-called reformers. This DVD will give you a clearer understanding of our Protestant brothers and sisters, and you will be better equipped to engage them about what separates us and about what unites us. Order your copy of The Protestant Revolution today by calling 1-888-291-8000, visiting shop.catholic.com, or by asking for it at a good Catholic bookstore near you.
We need EWTN Radio for the reason that Mother Angelica founded this entire enterprise. She always saw this as a spiritual growth network. It was to be an enterprise in media that reached people in all aspects of their life. She saw this as a holistic approach to reaching the whole person in the middle of the world and bringing them truth and life.
Raymond Arroyo thinks Catholic radio is important. So should you.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. Don't forget, our annual winter sale is underway, and you can get all books, CDs, DVDs, ebooks, tracks, and MP3s at 20% off. The sale runs from now until the last day of the year, which I believe is December 31st. That was pathetic. It's Friday afternoon, December 31st. You just use the promo code WINTER at checkout to save 20% on your purchase. Visit shop.catholic.com and take a look at all the great deals we have. You might even want to get some Christmas presents there. Shop.catholic.com, 20% off until the last day of the year. This hour, we're talking about the role of Catholic women in the world. And our guest is Dr. Pia De Selene, who, in addition to everything else, I have just found out is a graduate of, is this right, of Thomas Aquinas College?
Yeah, that's correct.
I found that out because Emily here, Chris Check's secretary or executive assistant, is also a graduate of Thomas Aquinas College. Those people up there, they're turning out very impressive students.
It's a very special and impressive place. I'm very blessed to have gone there. I often tell people, in all seriousness, if I hadn't gone there, I'd probably be, an attorney for Planned Parenthood.
Real? Wow. And wow.
No, because I was a practicing Catholic, as going through the motions, right? But and my dad said, you can go to any college you want. The only one I'm going to help you with is Thomas Aquinas. So I went, figuring that after a year I'd get him to let me transfer somewhere else. And it was the first time that that the faith had been presented to me in a serious manner, like in a substantial manner. And since then, then it was easy for me. It was like, why wouldn't I be Catholic? Why wouldn't I jump in? Why wouldn't I give myself entirely to my faith? Truly, it was easy. And people can give their lives away to something bigger than themselves. And that's where I think we missed the boat on evangelization. And we're still doing this, especially when we do it with young people, is we want to water everything down and not give anybody any challenge. When I was in high school, I used to envy the Mormon kids because they got to go to seminary at 7 o'clock in the morning or 7:30. I was just like, I wanted something challenging.
Right.
And, we weren't getting that. In youth group, we were passing a candle. We were playing stupid games. Nothing substantial.
It's good to know that there are places like that. And it's my understanding, I have not been to the campus, but that there's a real Catholic community there, and a Catholic community where everyone together is involved in this academic adventure. But Catholic community means a lot. We need more of it, not less of it. Let's go to calls again.
I think you need to do an on-site radio show at Thomas Aquinas College. Go up, check it out. Spend the day up there. You will be so amazed and enriched and inspired. You will say, "Wow, things are good in the world." Well,
I have to tell you, Dr. Deslany, I go and do stuff all the time. I would love to. The thing is that my fee is they have to provide snacks. If there's no snacks, I am not coming. So
I think they can work that out.
All right.
They might even find an beverage or two for you.
Very demanding that way. Need my snacks. Tom in Dallas, Texas, listening on 9:10 a.m. You are on with Dr. Pia Deslany. Your question, please. No, Tom? Change your mind? No? All right. Well, that's all right. Tom will come back. Sometimes that happens. I wait too long and the other person falls asleep. How about we go to Waldo in Richardson, Texas, another Texan. Let's see if anyone in Texas is awake right now. Waldo, you are on with Dr. Pia Deslany. Your question, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having my call.
Thank you for calling.
I come from Puerto Rico, from the Caribbean, and I have been living here in the States for 10 years. And one thing that I have noticed that is a little bit different from Puerto Rico to here is that in many cases, many women and many men that are more to the left side, if we could say that, more liberal, tend to defend the fact that women are called to do a lot of things, and why do we say that women should only do X or Y? But my question would be, how can we communicate that both men and women are called to have a balanced life? The same way a mom has to balance motherhood with work, with other responsibilities, with paying the bills, things like that. The same way the man has to balance fatherhood, which we forget so many times, and work and all the other responsibilities, and not leave fatherhood to mom to do both motherhood and fatherhood. How can we communicate that better?
Okay, Waldo. Dr. Deslany.
Amen, Waldo. You have asked the one of the most important questions. I think we need to be in making this, first of all, start living it, consciously. When I was working with a nonprofit family group, we talked about family-friendly policies, and I realized that they didn't apply across the board. I thought that they should apply to single people too, so that we would have time to go out and meet someone and maybe have a family. We need to start living this, and I think, and being intentional about it. We just had an event last night in Orange County. We hosted Dr. Lenny De Lorenzo from Notre Dame, and one of the things he told us is that he consciously, he and his colleague Tim O'Malley, who was supposed to be there, both of them consciously set aside Sunday as a day of rest, a day for the family, and they put away their cell phones. They keep the computer closed. If they have to, they put it in a drawer. I think we have to take a commitment to start living this in our own families, and ideally it would be wonderful if we can start doing this in our parishes or whatever our communities are, and just be intentional. We have to be intentional. What's happening is there's no intentionality, and then, you know, everything just runs over. And I think we expect a lot of women. We expect women to juggle everything, right? And we don't expect men to have a balanced life as well, and to say, well, yeah, work's not everything. You have to have time to be a dad, to be a father, you know, to be a human being. But the only way that I can think of is we have to start making intentional decisions for ourselves. I would say the first part that's absolutely essential to that is setting aside time for prayer, both personal prayer and family prayer. And once that starts, things start to work themselves out. We need that prayer time, and by prayer, I mean meditative, quiet prayer, where we are able to be in a role of active listening to our Lord, you know. Then that's going to start to shape the other things. But it's a personal decision and a personal effort that we have to take on. And I would say, again, if you're in a community, if you know other people where you guys can sit down, you know, have a nice dinner and say, hey, what do you guys think about, you know, balancing our lives a little bit more? What can we do to hold each other accountable? I mean, in the same way that, you know, we train for a race together or a half marathon, we do these things to be accountable, right? Fine if it can't be just you and your spouse, or if you're blessed to have other friends around, just make it a community thing. See if it's something that your parish wants to tackle. I mean, my first, you know, pray and turn off your devices. I think that'll give everybody a lot of headspace to make some clear decisions.
Waldo, I'd like to get your reaction to that, and I get some sense from you. Do you think that in Puerto Rico, for example, there's less of that, you know, American individualism, kind of Protestant work ethic that we have, and a little more ability to live a balanced life and take time in different ways than we do here?
Well, one, I would say yes. I would say you have a little bit more, well, you know, in general, you have more of the family-oriented culture, which in many pockets of the U.S. I have seen it, and I have enjoyed it and benefited so much because my first years in the U.S. I was alone. So thanks to many families, I felt welcomed and part of the community. Back home, I would say one of the things that shocked me the most when I came to the U.S. was back home when I was in college, you will not hear any Catholics in college. It was a small group. It did exist, but, you know, it didn't happen that much. Back here, well, here in the U.S., I studied in California, in L.A., and there was a Catholic center, and it was vibrant, and it was all kind of kids, and I saw families, and I saw little kids, and I saw every age praying. Like the first time I saw people like me praying the rosary, I felt like, what? People like me do pray the rosary here? So there are many amazing things happening. But back to the question about role of men and role of women balancing, I would like to say what the doctor said about praying together, about communicating the fact that the man has the same responsibilities in the household as the women. Of course, chores and those things are logically, you know, the first thing you thought about. Yes, we do have to do the same things. But in terms of the religious life, who is the religious leader in house? For many people, that's the woman is the one that does the religious things. You know, the man doesn't. The man is for work. And I grew up in Puerto Rico like that. Many men stay outside of the church waiting for the mass to be over, and all the women are inside with the kids.
Yeah.
So I think, that's the role of the man to be more clear.
Dr. DeSaleni.
Well, I think, too, statistically, it's been borne out that if the woman is the leader, the spiritual or religious leader in the family, there's, I think, a 25%, something like that, chance that the children will follow that religious pattern or tradition or choice, all right? If the man is the spiritual leader in the home, that number jumps up to over 80%. And again, we just have done such an awful or fantastic, however you want to look at it, we've done such a job of emasculating men and understanding what true leadership is, that it is hard for men to assume these roles. And I think it's hard for men to, you're swimming against the culture. I mean, right now, in the wake of all the Harvey Weinstein stuff, it's like if you read what's out there, you'd think that every man is a pig like Harvey Weinstein, and because that's the perception, and I think we don't encourage or allow men to be truly men. And one of the points that I didn't make with your previous caller is that in that Ephesians 5, wives be submissive to your husbands. Some biblical scholars actually translate that as wives allow your husbands. And honestly, that makes a lot more sense to me because I find that women are very, very competent in all sorts of different cultures. It's a question of allowing.
Waldo, thanks very much for sparking that conversation. That's a fascinating one, and it's connected for me, Dr. Desaleni, to this idea of the amount of pressure that young women feel. It just seems brutal when you see it. This idea of who am I supposed to be as a woman, and that it's in some ways maybe the Catholic faith can help with the idea that you have to make choices. You cannot, and that this life first was not our final home. We have to make choices in life, and among the things that you get when you make choices, when you're not trying to do and be everything, is you get peace. You get some time to live and breathe as a human being.
Yeah, and I think too, as Catholics, we have to do more to acknowledge the role of women as mothers, particularly of young children. You talk about my position being powerful. I'm sorry, it's not as powerful as the role of a mother with young children. I mean, she is, in most cases, the primary formator. I think if you look at Mulieris Dignitatem, John Paul II's document on the dignity of women, it's really like she's the first one to introduce the child to reality. And let me tell you, we're dealing with a culture of people who are struggling with reality and are spending a lot of money on therapists and inpatient places. And you kind of wonder, is that because we haven't valued, acknowledged, and encouraged the work that women do in the home? So often, if a woman decides to be a full-time stay-at-home mom, people say, "Oh, it's a pity you're not putting your degree to use. Oh, it's a pity you're not getting your education."
Right.
And we really need to talk that up.
Fair enough. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with more on the role of Catholic women in the world with Dr. Pia Desaleni right after this.
This is Bishop Robert Baer, and you're listening to Catholic Answers Live.
Pope Francis said, "All of us are called to mature in our work as evangelizers. We want to have better training, a deepening love, and a clearer witness to the gospel. St. Paul Street Evangelization's online school of evangelization will equip you with the tools you need to be an effective evangelist. We'll ask for a pledge of financial support, but if you're unable to give, we'll set you up for free. Find out more and get involved today at streetevangelization.com. That's streetevangelization.com.
Just like the saints of the Counter-Reformation, our own souls are in constant need of reform, of reconversion to God and His will for us. We struggle with sin. We become distracted in prayer. We find it hard to be loving and easy to be selfish. In Reform Yourself, Sean McAfee shows you how these magnificent saints can be guides to your own personal transformation. We all need to reform our souls. Let the saints who reformed the church show you how. Order your copy of Reform Yourself today by calling 1-888-291-8000, visiting the shop at Catholic.com, or asking for it at a good Catholic bookstore near you.
The Catholic Answers Minute. I'm Father Vincent Serpa. In Luke 12, Jesus warns us not to be afraid of those who kill the body, but of the one who, after killing, has the power to cast one into Gehenna. Even sparrows sold for 2 small coins do not escape the notice of God. The hairs on your head are numbered, he said. Fear not. You are worth more than many sparrows. Most of us fear rejection, the disapproval of people we respect, and certainly we fear for our physical safety. But our blessed Lord is telling us that the only safety that ultimately matters is the safety from sin and temptation. How much do we fear that? You won't find NBC or even Fox doing a special warning of the dangers of that. Our ultimate safety lies in repentance and the willingness to forego anything and everything in order to be faithful to Him. I'm Father Vincent Serpa for Catholic Answers, Catholic.com.
Call now with your question, 888-318-7884. This is Catholic Answers Live.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. So happy you're here with us for another one of these fantastic Friday shows we do to close out the week. We have Dr. Pia de Selene with us, theologian, cultural commenter, and now Chancellor of the Diocese of Orange here in California. Dr. de Selene, before we tried to go to Tom in Dallas, Texas, who I believe had fallen asleep under a tree, and let's try him again. Tom in Dallas, are you awake? Are you there?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you are. Have you got a question for Dr. de Selene?
Yeah. I've been waiting for you to say, "Start talking, boy."
Oh, okay. All right, Tom. Start talking, boy.
Okay. I have a two-part question here, and it has to do with obviously today's subject, the role of women in the church. And the first part has to do with in the history of the church. Have there ever been women deacons who were actually ordained as deacons? That's the first part of the question. And the second part is closely related. Is there a real movement in the church today that will result in the possibility of ordained women deacons? That's my questions. Those are my questions.
Okay.
So, hey, Tom, thanks for calling. I think you raised a really good question. So women deacons in the past, if you look at those words in Scripture, the words in Hebrew actually are not the same words that are used to talk about someone that is ordained. So it was women who served. It was that aspect of the diaconate service. So, for example, this is back when baptisms were, full immersion, and, it's good to have the ladies take care of the ladies and so forth. So it was never a sacramental ordination. And in terms of the future, I don't see any opening for it. The International Theological Commission did a study on this, I think, around 2004. It's not too long ago, and very thoroughly went through the historical and the theological considerations. The only way I see that we're going to have women deacons in the future is if we say, you know what, the diaconate is no longer something for which people are ordained, that's part of sacramental ordination, but rather it is a broader service type role within the church.
Okay. Just this past Tuesday, a priest at the RCIA class where I'm a sponsor was telling the people there were people there like I am I've been Catholic nearly 70 years, and people who are just coming into the church in this coming spring, and he said that people don't like to admit it, but there were deacons in the church. He refers to that, in Paul where he talks about Phoebe, and I'd always heard that was exactly what you said about the thing about a man would not be, doing a full immersion full immersion baptism of a woman, someone who wasn't his wife, and that was done by a deaconess who might be the wife, and it was more of a servant role, that the word that they used could be translated into 3 or 4 different things, and servant was one of them.
Dr. de Selene, Tom, I'm sorry, Tom, we got to let Dr. de Selene respond.
Yeah, well, first of all, there's some confusion there, because the diaconate role, that we understand a deacon to be a type of servant, right? But is it a servant that's part of that is sacramentally ordained, or servant as in a more general sense? And I don't mean servant as in, people living downstairs at Downton Abbey, right? It is clearly a role within the life of the church, serving the community, all right? So it's not a servile role, but it is a type of service or servant, and that's clear from the biblical scholarship. And I think Catholic Answers, you guys have a couple of good articles on this. And I would also look up the International Theological Commission, their document on women as deacons, and you might even share that with your pastor. You might go through it and maybe, I think it's a pretty long document, but you might download it, go through it, and either share the whole thing or share some of these specific parts where it goes through the scholarship and presents that, because I think your pastor's probably well intentioned, but it's obviously not completely informed about the tradition.
Tom, thank you for that call. In the studio, I have with me Emily, who has a question for you, Dr. de Selene.
Hi, Dr. de Selene. I was wondering if you could just give some general advice to young women who are living, a life of virtue, trying to strive for holiness and living in the church, and what we can do to bring Christ to others, to bring Christ to the world. And if you just had some advice you could share with us.
Thanks, Emily. I mean, the first thing I would say is be happy. Jesus tells people, when you're fasting, don't go around, with your looking like it. I mean, be happy. Live the life of Christ. Live the life and the joy of the gospel. Because that's the biggest thing. If people look at you and they see that you're happy, that draws them. And frankly, it's like the best testimonial you can have to what it is that you want to evangelize. And I think it's hard. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I was single and dating, and it was really hard. And I think just continue to come back to the source of your joy. And I don't plan, there's only so much planning for the future that you can do. The story is tell God your plan. If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. But I would say live very much enjoying the moment and communicating joy. St. Francis of Assisi said, live nothing that you may expect everything. And I use that as my dating motto, but I've used it in a lot of different ways because we can't get caught up in our plans. It's what is God's plan for our life. And if we're too busy planning for the future, we're going to miss the right spouse, the right opportunities, the right jobs, and we get so caught up in that. We've got our lives mapped out, and I have met so many people that they're not open. Again, I keep bringing it back to dating, but they're not open in terms of dating. It's like they already have a checklist of what this person's supposed to look like, what they're supposed to do, and da-da-da-da. And so they're not truly open. And so while they're waiting for this person that's going to meet their checklist, they're missing all these people that might be entering their lives. But first and foremost, I mean, I would say live joy. And if you can't, figure out why and what you can do to live that, because that's going to help you everywhere. It's going to help you in every aspect of your life. And then, again, prayer. Just if prayer is at the core of your life, and again, I'm talking about that meditative prayer where your mind is clear enough to listen to God, and we're not just telling God, what we need, what we want, what we think, but actually listening to him, I think it's fundamental.
Thank you so much. That is extremely helpful.
Thanks, Emily.
God bless.
Thanks for coming in. We go now to Hannah in Columbia, Missouri. Hannah, you are on with Dr. Pia De Saleni. Your question, please.
Hi, Dr. De Saleni. So I was permitted to make a comment, kind of give a little bit of a testimony, but I would love to hear your comment on it. I'm a wife, mother, and homemaker, and about 3 years ago, I completed a PhD in biochemistry. I was not married at the time. And within the year after that, I was working at a job that required my PhD. I met my husband, married him, and now we've been married for coming up on 2 years. I'm now a mother, happy to say, and no longer doing any job that requires that PhD. So in regard to Dr. De Saleni's comments on it's okay to be a mother, what you're doing is important, I have to say that I feel so much more fulfilled as a woman, as a wife and mother, and a homemaker than I ever did when I was in graduate school studying biochemistry, doing what the world would say is so important. And I also would like to say, I know that women feel pressure when they have an advanced degree. You've got to use that degree. You've got to use that degree. Well, I'm using that degree raising my baby and, God willing, more children. So I just wanted to make that comment, and I was, hopefully...
Thank you, Hannah. Let's let Dr. De Saleni respond because we're getting very close to the top of the hour. Dr. De Saleni.
Yeah, Hannah, thanks for calling in. I think your testimony is really important. And again, it's, we're just misguided in terms of what we think is going to make us happy. And honestly, it's just, in terms of fulfillment, we need to be hearing from women like yourself. And I think it's a wonderful testimony because I can't give that testimony, and there's nothing as authentic as the person living that. And the more we hear from women like yourself, the more we're all going to be served. So thank you.
Hannah, what a happy call to end our work week here on. Thank you so much for that. Dr. Pia De Saleni, thanks for being with us for just a fascinating hour. Really appreciate it.
Oh, it's fun, Ty. Thanks for having me on.
All right, and I hope I get a good report with the bishop up there and all that. Now that you're in a superpower position.
Well, you're at the top of the watch list. You got to keep an eye on you.
Oh, I'm at the top of the watch list. Oh, I'm going to lose my key to the 8th floor of the tower over there where the radio studio is. Thanks, everybody who's joined us this week on Catholic Answers Live. We do appreciate it. And we'll be back Monday with another brilliant show. Also, if you would like to check out more of what we do, Catholic.com/focus, where we do a little bit longer form interviews. No calls, but longer form interviews. Jesus Christ is the light of the nations. And we'll see you next time on Catholic Answers Live.